Hello, I'm Graham Horton and welcome to this video. Now this video is another product review for you, and it's for another of these small retro style flash units. They seem to be all the rage now on TikTok, where people are trying to recreate the sort of flash images you used to get with disposable cameras. So the very bright lights with fall off on the sides, shiny noses and faces. They're trying to recreate that look with our modern digital cameras using these retro style flash units. So this one is the Z150 from the company Neewer. And again, a full disclosure, I was provided this by Neewer to review for you, but as usual with all my reviews, they're fully independent. I'm not told what to say or what I can't say. You'll get to hear about the whole product in all its glory, or in this case, some of the weaker points of this particular unit. So let's have a look what you get with your money for the Z150, currently around about £35 here in the UK. So on the desk I've got the Z150, let's just have a quick look at that. The box, you can see here the description. It's the Neewer Z150 mini flash and an illustration of the actual flash unit itself. On the side you can see some of the specifications. This is a 20 watt second flash unit, which is given the equivalence of something like a guide number of 15 at ISO 100, and that is obviously in meters. The colour temperature is around about 6000 Kelvin, and it supports its own lithium-ion battery, so you don't have to worry about changing AA or AAA batteries out every time you're using the flash. So it's got its own inbuilt lithium-ion battery, 1200 mAh capacity, recharges between flashes at full power at 3.1 seconds, and recharges in something like an hour and a half from fully depleted. The unit itself will support 600 full flashes, and you can adjust the power from 1/1 full power to 1/64 power. Unfortunately, only in one full stop increments. You don't get the finer half or 1/3 increments as provided by some other manufacturers. And the flash angle is set to 35mm, so is slightly wider than you would need for 35mm equivalent cameras, so you are getting a slightly wider angle with cutoff if you're not careful. So let's have a look at the unit itself. You get a instruction manual, which is a very basic instruction manual, but you can load a fuller manual from the Neewer website, and I'll put a link to that in the video description below, or you can actually follow the QR code to take you to that. You will also receive a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, so you can charge this from a power bank or from a wall socket, which provides you with a 5V output. So this is the flash unit itself. It only weighs 3.6 ounces or about 100 grams, so it's very lightweight. You can see it has this retro styling, sort of an oval appearance at the front, a slightly yellowed front. I guess that's to create the 6000 Kelvin from the native flash tube. Some of the older flash units used to have this yellow tint to give a much more natural looking light. So you'll just be able to see behind there is the actual flash tube itself, and around it is the diffusion screen. So on the top of the unit we have the adjustment dial for setting the power. It is stamped with the value for full, half, quarter, 1/8, 1/16, 1/32 and 1/64, and as you rotate that you will see that appear in the window at the back here on the OLED screen, so you can actually see the power from the top or from the back. You've got the main power on off button here, which you press and hold to turn on the power, and also functions as a test flash button, so you can actually test. There is another button here which will select between the S1 and S2 modes. S1 is where the flash will fire synchronously with any other flash that fires in the vicinity, and S2 will suppress that first flash and go with the second flash. So if you're using a TTL flash unit, the S2 mode is the one to use if you're going to be using this remotely, as you'll see later in the video. On this side of the unit, you'll see we've got that USB-C charging port, so that is where you will charge the device, and I guess if there are any software or firmware upgrades, it could be done through that port, but there's no information in the manual. On the base of the unit, we've got this single pin port, which is the hot shoe. So the outside electrode is the shoe of the device, and the firing electrode is the pin in the middle, which is spring loaded. Has a voltage of about 3 volts, so no problems at all with our modern digital cameras. The shoe can be locked down by the wheel here, which lowers a detemp pin, which will lock into your hot shoe of your flash unit. On the other side, you'll find there is a 2.5mm hole. Now that 2.5mm hole is if you've got a flash unit that doesn't have a hot shoe but supports the old PC sync, you can actually use this cable to plug into the side of the flash unit and then connect the PC socket to the receptacle on your camera if you don't have a hot shoe. On the back of the unit we have our OLED screen, and that provides us all the information. So let me just turn this on by just briefly depressing the power button. So press and hold, and you'll see that the OLED screen comes on. You can see at the moment we're on 1/8 power, and the 3 bars tell me that we're 75% charged in the case of the internal lithium-ion battery. If you were to charge this from your power bank, then obviously the USB-A will plug into your power bank, and the USB-C would plug into the USB-C port. And you can see now on the back of the unit that it is now indicating that we're charging. So you see the 4th bar is flashing. When that is full, you'll see four bars, and that will give you an indication that you're fully charged. So that is how you would charge up the unit using USB-C to USB-A plug. At the moment we're in the manual mode, indicated by the fact we've got the 1/8 symbol, and as I turn the knob on the top, we can go from 1/1, which is full power, to half, to quarter, to 1/8, 1/16, 1/32 and 1/64 power. There is no TTL mode. This is a manual only flash unit, so it's a case of chimping really to get your exposure right. You can use that guide number of 15 with ISO 100 to give you an idea of what apertures to set if you work out the equation for the flash power. But it's easy enough to make a test fire. If it's still underexposed, increase the power or get closer. If it's overexposed, then reduce the power or get further away, or change the aperture on your camera or change the ISO. So you've got various options there. Manual flash is a bit of a guessing game, and with a bit of experience you'll be able to understand how you get the correct exposure. The button on the top will select between S1, Slave 1 mode. So if I just press that, you can see the LED as illuminated. So with S1, that will fire synchronously with any other flash that's firing. Press it one more time, we'll go into the S2 mode, and that will then suppress the pre-flash of a TTL flash and fire synchronously with the second one. If you wanted to go into the manual mode, then you just press that button until both S1 and S2 are out, and then you will see that you are in manual mode. So it's a simple case of just sliding this into the hot shoe of your camera, tightening down the locking nut wheel there to secure it to the flash housing. So with your flash assembled on your camera, most cameras will set the shutter speed below the synchronization speed, but if it doesn't, then your mirrorless cameras you should be shooting with something like a 1/60th of a second. If you've got a leaf shutter camera, then you can fire up to the maximum of the camera itself. So anything like the Panasonic Lumix fridge cameras, you can use up to a 2,000th of a second and it will synchronize. But with mirrorless cameras or DSLRs, normally a 1/60th or a 60th of a second to ensure that you get full flash coverage during the exposure. So here I've got the camera set up with a exposure 1/80th of a second and f8 and ISO 100. It will fire when I press the shutter button, and then you can then jump the exposure to see how it looks. So I'm going to take a picture here on the desktop. A couple of limitations I found when using this camera. The control wheel here to set the power is fairly loose, and it's quite easy to brush that. You've got your power set and it's quite easy just to brush that and your flash power changes. Also, the coverage pattern of this lens is more or less as you see here. It's a long slit rather than a 4:3 aspect ratio or 3:2 aspect ratio that you'd expect if you were shooting full frame pictures. So if you see on screen now, you can see the pattern from this device is more like cat's eye. You've got a band across the middle which is higher exposure, so if you're using wide angle shots you will see that as fall off on your shots. Zooming into something like 50mm on your camera, you don't really see that fall off side to side, so beware that if you are shooting wide angle pictures of groups, some of your extremities may fall into underexposure. Now, I have used this flash unit in the S1 mode, and it's great if you want to get the flash off camera to give you a little bit better modeling. So if you can get the flash up to something like 45 degrees to your subject and 45 degrees above it, you'll get that nice shadow under the chin or under the nose. It's much better than the straight on flash, which gives you that very bland, no featured modeling at all. So if you use a pop-up flash of your camera and set it to a very, very low value, that provides enough power to enable the S1 mode of this flash unit to fire. So again, you can then set the power of your external flash unit to give you the correct exposure, and the on-camera flash, you can use that to just either initiate that exposure or act as a fill light. Now you can see on screen now some pictures I've taken of this little Christmas ornament. You can see the first shot is just a blank, as you would expect, straight off camera flash with shadows behind the unit and no modeling at all. But if you take this flash unit off and use the S1 mode, I can set the camera to 45 degrees and 45 degrees above it, and you can see I get much better modeling under the model. If you up the power of the on-camera flash, then you can suppress some of those shadows that are being formed by that 45 degree angle. Now, the unit doesn't come with any form of flash diffusion. You're just getting the bare bowl flash of this, which gives you those sharp shadows. But I have found that if I fit the diffuser from another of my small flash guns, it fits neatly over the front face of the flash unit like so, and just holds on by friction, and that's enough to give me a softer light source for portrait lighting or even tabletop lighting where I don't want those harsh shadows. And you can see the final shot of that little decoration here. You can see we've got a much softer lighting using this diffusion screen. Now, if you did want to use this manual flash gun off camera for better modeling, then if your camera supports that PC sync socket, then you can actually use a extension cable like this, or if you have another extension cable for your flash unit, you could mount this on here because it only uses that single electrode to fire, so it doesn't matter whether you've got a Nikon extension cable or a Canon one or a Fuji one, it will fire just using that central electrode, so you could use this off camera. You can of course use wireless control to take the flash unit off camera and control it. This one is actually the Neewer FC16, which is a 16 channel device. You can set the actual channel with dip switches on the transmitter and receiver, and it has a transmitter which you plug onto the hot shoe of the camera. Again, just a single electrode, doesn't support TTL, it's just a blanket fire. Screw that down, make sure you've got the same channel on the transmitter as on the receiver. Switch this to the flash mode, and on the receiver weak plug on the flash unit, lock that down, and again turn on the unit to make sure that we're in the flash mode. You've got a test button on the transmitter, so if I just press the test button, you can see the flash unit fires. And if you wanted to take a picture, obviously then you can hold the flash at 45 degrees, point your camera at whatever you want to take a picture of, and then when you fire it, you'll get a transmission of the information to fire the flash from the transmitter to the receiver. No wires, nothing to get tangled up with anybody, and you can just take a picture like so. And again, just to adjust the power to give you the correct exposure. So that is the Neewer Z150 flash unit. Again, quite a cost-effective unit if you want to get into flash photography for these pictures you want to show on places like TikTok, or you can use this as a fill light for your outdoor pictures if you're shooting against sunlight, so it can actually brighten the shadows created by the sun. So there is enough power in this unit. Remember, it is manual. You will have to chimp the exposure to get it right. It's not like some of the guns that have inbuilt ITTL or TTL exposure mode. It is manual, and you have to work out what the exposure is from the guide number of 15 at ISO 100 in meters, or chimp the exposure to get it right. Hope you found the video useful. I'll put a link to the website for the newer information about this, and also the Amazon website. I'll also put a link to the location where you can download the full manual for this device. So thanks very much for watching, and of course, if you're a new viewer and you like my reviews, why not hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon to be advised when I upload new videos to the channel. Also check out my latest reviews of these flash units again on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link to that playlist in the video description as well. So until the next video, thanks very much for watching. Thanks to Neewer for sending out this device for me to test for you, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye for now.